Hey everyone, welcome back to Keto and Crime and Thought Crime, another impromptu video for you. So we have evidently a bona fide suspect or perpetrator in the Nashville explosion. The body found at the scene later on Christmas Day, though not immediately identified, have now been tied through DNA records, dental records, other things to be that of Anthony Quinn Warner of Anti-Och, Tennessee, age 63. And the reason I did not put this out yesterday is because there was a lot of confusion over just who this gentleman was. I was shown this picture as Anthony Warner. This picture is Anthony Warner. And now finally we have settled on this picture as Anthony Warner. That's why you don't trust all internet sleuths people. And that's the reason I don't break cases, because I like my facts to be as clear as possible. And so right now, December 28th, Monday at 11:09 a.m. Central Standard Time, this is what we know. Anthony Quinn Warner was 63, a IT professional as far as we know. His records show that he has worked in various IT and technical jobs for many years. Up until about 10 years ago, he was supposedly had lived with his parents until he moved into his home that he occupied just before the incident on the 100 block of Bakerstown Road in Anti-Och, Tennessee, which is a suburb of Nashville, Tennessee. The FBI, ATF and Nashville PD have thoroughly searched his residence, and that with the DNA match leads us to believe that he was killed in the explosion, but it was something that he planned and set into motion himself, allegedly. We know that he's been involved from court records. We know that he has had one brush with the law going all the way back to 1979, a burglary, and I'll drop those documents here. They are public record. In addition, he was most recently employed with the firm of Friedrich and Clark Realty as an IT professional. They have confirmed that he was recently employed with them, according to FBI Special Agent Jason Pack. Now, the reasoning for this, there have been several reasons given. One, that he was into 5G conspiracy theories. We don't know that. We only know what internet sleuths are telling us. We have heard he was a Trump supporter. We've heard he was an Antifa supporter. We've heard he was a Barack Obama supporter, later Bernie Sanders, later Antifa. We've also heard that he is a white supremacist. Now, you can't be all those things, people. So, I don't know. But 5G, or a suspicion of 5G being deadly, is one of the major reasons that it is floating to the top. But we don't know that. We do know that he had one brush with the law in 1978 for burglary. He has had repeated conflicts with his family over his parents' property. We do know that the house that he was living in, as well as a second home, were quit claim deeded to a relative of his in California recently, perhaps in preparation for what he figured would be his imminent death. He was kind of a loner, never married, no children. So I guess you would say an incel of his generation. And basically we don't know the details, but evidently he had been planning this for a while. We do know that the RV in question appeared at the 100 block of 2nd Avenue North at 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Day. It exploded at 6:30. In between that time, gunshots were fired. Still unexplained gunshots were fired that drew police in. They heard the recording where he was telling people to evacuate, or computerized voice was telling people to evacuate, if you can hear this message. And prior to that, there are reports that the song Downtown by Petula Clark was heard from the RV just before the explosion. At least that is what's rumored. As I said, he had deeded one piece of property, both pieces of his property, to a woman by the name of 𝐁𝐨𝐬𝐿 in California, and there's a copy of the quitclaim deed online. You can easily find that. She says she had no knowledge of the second deeding, but did receive one of his properties a few years ago, and then promptly deeded it to another woman named Betty Lane. That's all we know. Both women, after being questioned, have denied any knowledge of these attacks. It's not unusual for somebody not to know they've been deeded something in the state of Tennessee, because when you do a quitclaim deed, sometimes the recipient is not notified. It's a weird thing, but it does happen. And allbiz.com, if you search on allbiz.com for Anthony Quinn Warner, you will also find a security and electrical company listed to him as Custom Alarms Electronics that lists him as a principal partner with his Anti-Och Bakerstown Road address listed as primary address. So we do know, at least up until recently, he was self-employed. And that's all we know about him. He was a techie. He had conflict with his family. He deeded both pieces of his property to one person, who then turned around and deeded it to another person. Both of them claimed they had no idea this was happening. Neighbors reported him as being a loner, and possibly being a part of 5G conspiracy theories circles. But none of that has been confirmed. The facts as we know them are simply, he was unmarried. He had one brush with the law in 1979. He lived on Bakerstown Road in Anti-Och. He owned his own business. He had worked in IT prior to that. And then he deeded both pieces of his property to someone else. That's all we know that is factually explained at this time. Now, rumors, he was 5G conspiracy theorist. He was a Trump supporter. He was an Antifa supporter. He had been a Barack Obama and a Bernie Sanders supporter. As I said, all of that is purely conjecture. We don't know. There are also supposedly videos emerging online showing that the explosion came from an area outside of the RV. I have not had a chance to look at any of those videos to see if any of those hold water, so I will not comment on those. But let's just say that this story is ever unfolding, and I will continue to follow this as we know more. But this is what we know as of 12/28/2020, just before noon Central Standard Time. And I will be back if any further information surfaces. And until then, until next time, keto and crime.